Hello. The title of this podcast is Don't Allow Your Mind or Ego to Make You Miss Out. Oftentimes, I have reflected and noticed that what my mind is telling me about a certain situation or a person will cause me to miss out on everything that is there. And oftentimes, there's a ton of goodness that's there. And if I heard the phrase, don't allow the perfect to be the enemy of the good, which means that needing and requiring everything to be perfect for you to be okay inside or for you to like something can cause you to miss out on producing or experiencing something that has a lot of goodness to it. And you can look at it with the weather. So, for example, let's say you have a vacation planned and you have unconsciously or maybe even consciously staked the your enjoyment or the experience being a certain way based on an expectation that the weather is going to be perfect or the weather needs to be perfect. And when you get there and it rains, you complain about it. You're upset about it because now this experience won't be perfect. It won't live up to your expectation. And the same can be said about people is that, I used to need people to be a certain way, uh, act toward me in a certain way for me to be okay inside. And so a lot of that was my mind's expectations, my mind's narratives about the way people, places, and situations needed to be for me to have a good time, for me to have a good experience. And what it was doing was it was actually causing me to miss out. And once I started to change things around about how I was going to interact with life, however it showed up, especially the things that were outside of my control, which are most things, and the weather is certainly a good example. Once I started to create a different relationship with those things, as seeing them as these awesome opportunities to practice, once I started making that the higher reason that I was doing something, then whatever the situation was became a vehicle for me to deepen my consciousness, for me to expand my growth. And that has been a wonderful thing. It is pretty rare, but it happens for me to get tripped up over something. And the reason being is the minute that something comes up, not to my liking, my mind wants to pipe up about what's wrong with it or about this person. And I have worked on seeing that situation. This is where my practice can be applied. I don't care what it is. The minute that I feel my heart or my mind start to react in a certain way, that it's not peaceful and loving, I don't suppress it. I kind of lean back, become aware of it. And then I say, oh, this is where I need the work, not on trying to manipulate or fix the situation. If that is required, that's down the road. But what requires immediate attention is my awareness that this is an opportunity for me to grow in this particular area. Situations are sometimes difficult to see that with because you can get swallowed up in them pretty quickly. But people are really good with that. So I invite you to choose a person as a representative for this experiment, for this exercise. And whatever they do that your mind says pushes your button is a trigger for you, make that be your practice. Not what most people do is make changing that person their practice. Really? Like that's a waste of your time and energy. Or they make part of their practice is avoiding that person. You can do that too. But whenever you do see that person, it's going to come up for you again. What the wise person does is says, if I run into this person, I want to be the kind of person who can handle this situation. And when I say handle it, not handle the person, but handle the disruption, what's uncomfortable that occurs inside, be able to handle that so that goes away. So that when you see the person, all you see is love. No matter how they behave, how they act, what they say, all that's irrelevant. That is so secondary. What's primary It's who you're being, what's happening inside of you when you're around people that are not the way that you think they should be. And when I've done that, I have stopped missing out on all the goodness that's there. Oh, I get to see people in this most amazing way. For so long growing up the way that I did in the South with the history there, and most of the history there that I think about the South has been pretty negative over time. But when I apply this new way of being to the South, I can see how much I missed out on what was occurring in the South with the amazing people that were there, all colors and races and backgrounds. There's so much beauty and goodness there that I miss because I had a narrative and a generalization about people. The same thing about the South and the lifestyle there and the history. When I reflected back on the history, I thought about the history as being discriminatory, being rooted in prejudices and all those things. But there is also a great history there about, family and people being open and being loving and open their doors up to people of all backgrounds and demographics. That's also part of the history. But that was obscured because I allowed my mind and my narratives to kind of write the story or write my experience during that period of my life. And what I've done now is I've taken the pen away from my mind. It doesn't write anything for me anymore. I really work on quieting my mind so that my conscious self, my higher self, can start to write what my experience is going to be. And since I've done that, like I said, I no longer miss out. So I invite you that when a person, place, or situation shows up that's not to your liking, don't make that your primary focus of what needs to change or be different. Make your primary focus of the work you need to do inside to be okay with everything on the outside. That's the practice. So again, don't allow your mind or ego to cause you to miss out because there's so much goodness there. So much. I mean, just really quick, there's so many things that are happening in our country right now regarding politics and laws. You can become so fixated on that you will miss out that it is a beautiful day here in Arizona right now. Beautiful. You'll miss out on that. Now, you being able to appreciate the beauty of the day, being able to appreciate the kindness of other people, you being able to do that can be obscured if you are completely fixated on this other thing. And you experiencing the joy and you appreciating the good that is also present in the same moment doesn't mean that you don't care about these other things. You can care about them without being at the effect of them. And if you bring that kind of kindness and beauty and love and ease to life because it's internally derived, if you bring that, then I want you working on situations that may need to change regarding the law. I want you to be doing things that involve the community. But if you're a person who can't handle that because of the narratives of your mind and you can't appreciate the good that's also available, then that means that you are not able to work with other people that might think differently than you because your mind has already written a narrative about them. And because of that narrative, you can't work together with anyone. And we need everybody to be able to work together, to collaborate together, to really make change that's beneficial to everyone. So I invite you to look at all the goodness that's in this great country that we live in this great world that we live in. See it. And if you're saying to yourself, well, I can't see it, but yes, there are but, then consider you're not writing your narrative. Your mind is. And it is conditioned by your past and about these other biases that you may not be aware of. I certainly was. So again, I invite you to work on you so that you don't miss out anymore.